Simba, I'm getting messaged by people saying you have no audio on stream.
Oh I don't have my audio. All right, I did not unmute my mic. We're doing great. Pro streamer. I just pulled a. I'm just gonna say I pulled an arrow. Who's one of my good friends. I did not unmute my mic on Streamlabs. But anyway, let me redo that. So I'm gonna be joined here by Ro914, Captain of Nether Knights. We're gonna redo my intro. My apologies, guys. But we're gonna do power ranking up, the update on the power rankings, the why that occurred. We're gonna review last week's games, my game of the week, mine and Rose's predictions for this week. Oh, hi, Kat. How you doing? No, you came in here. You're locked in here until I'm done. So sucks to suck, Mal. But yeah, we're gonna go over last week's games, what occurred, and why that's happening. What our predictions are. Then I'll probably end up talking to Ro about his team's performance through halfway through the season, how he feels, what allows him to be still confident. Probably maybe make a Rats and Bunny style run back into. Everybody's gonna be in playoffs, but a Rats and Bunny style run from having a poor start of their year to a great end to their year. Because Rats and Bunnies, they started I think 0-6 last season, and then they made a run to the championship. Unfortunately, not winning the championship, but they started really poor, but they made a run all the way to the chip and nearly got the ring. But unfortunately for them, they ran into the weirdly hot at the beginning, cold in the middle, and then hot in playoffs stack of PSGS. But yeah, we're gonna just go over this. But anyway, I'm gonna intro Ro, let him introduce himself. Any fun facts he has about himself. But Ro, you're captain of the Nether Knights. Why don't you tell us about yourself?
I got Ro, Kevin, Nether Knights, kind of just captain because I'm willing to organize stuff, not because I'm the drafter or make any decisions in game. But eh, I don't know, I've been playing AD2L for quite a while, kind of on and off when I have time. Definitely been cruising up through the leagues faster than my personal rank has grown, so that's been interesting. But hopefully my rank will catch up to this league's or this division's ranking soon.
Yeah, you got to go from Crusader 5 to at least Legend 1. That's a big jump to make.
We'll get there.
I think that's one massacre, so six star jump. So yeah, rank in a little bit extra. whole
I
middle and a
was,
little
I
bit
think,
extra.
Archon right at the start of the season, but yeah, just a lot of losses brought me down to 1 star from Archon 1 to Crusader 5.
Yeah,
But I got
no,
my percent going back up, so
yeah. As long as you have a percentage, that's the best part, right?
yep,
As long as you see a percentage, you see that glimmer of hope.
it's going.
But let's. I'm gonna go over this week's power rankings, which would be this week 3, compared to week 2, where my team Grin Scythe jumped from 3 to 1. After week 3, we sit at rank 1 still. Daddy's Dictatorship went from 2. Went from what I have them do. They went from 4 to 2. They still sit at 2. Waste of Golf dropped from 2 to 3. They still sit at 3. Dark Horse Storm dropped from rank 1 all the way down to rank 4. Slugcats jumped up from rank 7 to rank 5. They're still at rank 5. There's no changes. Grand Fairy still sitting at rank 6. And then Nether Knights, you guys dropped from rank 5 to rank 7 from week 1 to week 2. And then you guys are still sitting at rank 7 going after week 3. The main reason for that is if we look at last week's games, let's start with the Waste of Golf versus Grand Fairy series. I have the links there for you if you want to just pull them up. So we'll start with that series. This series was Waste of Golf did have a stand-in for their position 5, who is Jesse. I don't know if he has a weird name pronounce it, but their pos 5 for this series was Grace Jam. The one thing that stands out for me in this game 1 is, and their pos 1 Butt Health, who has since left AD2L and is no longer playing in the league. So this team is without their carry from this series, and then their pos 5 is not in this series. So they're having a whole different, they're having a whole lot of roster rotation in the middle of the season. But Waste of Golf did win the series 2-0. The main thing that stands out for me is Butt Health, Double Stuffed, Milk Boxy, all 3 cores on the side of Waste of Golf just kind of absolutely popped off, while the supports on the side of Grin Fury and Island had less than stellar games along with their offlane. The only player who kind of had redeeming factors in this game 1 is Panda, who is the only player on his team who had an even break. One other thing that stands out for me, despite the kill score, all lanes, according to DotaBuff, were draws. So that's a surprise to me. But this ended up being a 32-minute stomp. Because I remember looking at this game about the 15-minute mark. About the 15-minute mark, this game just got severely out of hand. If you happen to look at the team advantage graph, you had a 4-for-1 trade in the favor of Waste of Golf, another 4-for-1 trade, and then a 3-for-1 trade, 3-for-nobody trade. So not great in terms of what you want to do in the lane break start of mid game stage. If you're Grand Fury, you don't really want to lose those big team fights, but they lost them handily. Is there anything noticeable from? Do you have these series pulled up?
Yeah, I got them pulled up, and I think just looking at these trades, I'm almost surprised because I feel like Grin Fury should have had a really good mid-game team. Without really watching them, not sure what happened. I almost have to think they were just getting jumped on and not having good opportunities to respond. But I mean, the Beastmaster, Abaddon, Avenge, those heroes are all strong early, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm just kind of surprised they were losing those trades so heavily early.
My only guess is that Milk Boxy, he had the 11-minute blank. They kind of play on that timing. It just happened to play on that timing. Milk Boxy says, "I got blink. Let's just go, boys." And then Witch Golf said, "Okay, let's go murder." All right. That's my only guess, is that blink timing occurred and they kind of played on that blink timing coming out.
Yeah, and they also clearly just snowballed. I mean, they're averaging over a kill a minute, so they clearly just snowballed once they hit their timing. Was they, yeah, hit whatever timing they wanted and just put their foot on the gas and never let up.
Yeah, just have to see if Waste of the thing is this was Waste of Golf's first series so far this season because they had a bye week 1 and then they ended up unfortunately having to forfeit week 2 against Daddy's Dictatorship. So this was their first series of so they've had 3 weeks to prepare a draft. And then the most notable thing is poor old Island was not allowed to play any of his heroes he actually likes to play. If you look at this first set of bands by Waste of Golf, it's Island Band, Island Band, Island Band, and Island Band. So it seems that the Waste of Golf took notes from Daddy. I think it was Daddy's Dictatorship who played Fury last time. Yeah, it was week 1 that they played him. So yeah, it looks like Ness took notes from Wild Daddy and said, "Oh, you banned out Island and then you won the games handily? Okay, we'll just follow suit on that." So poor old Island is just getting focus banned in first phase and is being almost disallowed from playing any kind of game he wants to even dream of playing. But yeah, about the 15-minute mark, team fights went poorly. Did you see the blink timing come out? And Milkboxy started blinking around, killing everybody, and then it just snowballed out of control at the 15-minute mark and mercifully ended 15 minutes later. But Waste of Golf won their first series, won their first game of the season that they've played so far. It's the island prep for my tenure on Nana Grippers. Oh, that works too. I guess playing with Island helps too, knowing what he wants to do. But again, Ness, you're just banning out poor old Island. Just let him have one. Let him have one of his heroes. Let's see. Like Grid Fury's lowly down here. They're at a lowly little 1-4. Let's just let Island have one hero. Let him have it. I guess just pre-draft talk to Island. Which of your heroes do you want? Oh, why is this the series? Why did it pull up the wrong series? All right, whatever. All right, on to game 2 of this series. Weirdly, the one thing I'm noticing is 51-minute game. Green Fury won all the lanes, but lost the game. So, win lane, lose game. Is that gonna be the? Uh, I guess. Yeah. According to Ness Island, you need to learn other heroes that aren't Meepo, Arc Warden, Visage, Lone Druid. What other micro heroes play mid? Can you name any off the top of your head, Ro?
I think you covered them.
What other?
I mean, it looks like you took Nature's in this second game and did pretty well on it. So
Did well, but not well enough because you still lost the game. Lost the game, but if you look at the graph,
very back and forth.
it's a back and forth. Who wants to throw harder? And it looks like poor old Grin Fury ended up throwing harder at the end because they got wiped, lost 4, buybacks into Dawnbreaker dieback, Razor dieback, and then just lose the game by losing 4 because you have no nicks. Didn't watch the replays of this game, but looking at just the hard numbers, back and forth of who wants to throw harder. Main thing I see is Grin Fury won all their lanes, so they did something right the first 10 minutes. They do have the mid Furrion who can just run around the map like a psychopath. So that probably helps. And then I don't know what occurred, but it looks like, again, at the 15-minute mark, Grin Fury takes poor fights, loses more heroes than they kill. Waste of Golf just presses that advantage. Then they do a little bit of throwing. 2-4. 2-4 for a 4-for-3 trade, then a 4-for-1 trade. And then they try to throw, and then Grin Fairy throws by getting wiped completely off the map. And actually, not Razor dieback, actually, too. So Razor dieback. And then probably at this 45 minute mark, or 43 minute mark, Grin Fairy's head just kind of went into the sand like a dodo, and they just didn't know what the hell to do. Late game against Waste of Golf, who in their first series absolutely had a absolute stomp, and then a back and forth hard game that they just ended up pulling out in the end because Grin Fairy wanted to throw harder this game. There anything you necessarily see out of this series that I'm not seeing besides the back and forth who wants to toss harder?
No, unfortunately, I think that just went out to one of those games of it was all decided on basically one or two team fights in a row. Whichever team could win two fights in a row towards the end was going to win the game. Looking at towers, both, I mean, even Grin Fury was knocking at the doors of the base. They had taken a tier 3 into racks. The other ones were T3s were at least open, so it was really probably just take a fight, run down a lane.
Yeah, I mean, you do have Gyro, who naturally builds into his. Yeah, he did build his Aghanim, so Gyro with Ags just absolutely melts towers. So that hero just can. Necessarily, Wasted Golf doesn't have the best tower pushers, but you just kind of sit behind Gyro, let him do his thing. He'll just eat a tower relatively quick because he gets the double attack, and he'll just kill towers quickly. Because in theory, I mean, Grim Fury doesn't have the greatest tower pushers either. They have Furion. That's about it.
And he didn't really even go a tower hitting build.
No, he
See,
did
Vessel, eggs.
5.3. Yeah, 5.3k. Pandemonium has 6.1k. And then Butt Health said buildings. I like to eat those. But it looks like Island probably. I'm guessing Island just pressured out of the mid lane on Furion. Tried to make a lot of space for his side lanes to win. Just because that you have a free teleport around the map. That's just kind of what Furion does. But Waste of Golf does end up winning this series 2-0, moving their moving their record on the season to 3-2. That two could be they could be 4-1 at this point. They could be 5-0 at this point. There's no real answer because we don't know what this Daddy's Dictatorship series was going to look like because Waste of Golf just had scheduling issues. They couldn't play it. So they could have won one Daddy's Dictatorship. They could have 2-0'd them. They could have gotten 0-2'd. So we could see their actual record. We don't know what the series. There's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts on Waste of Golf. I don't think there's a reason I have them number 3 on the power ranking. They're probably one of the scarier teams in this division behind Daddy's Dictatorship. My team, we're playing well. I don't know how long that's going to last, but we're playing well. But Waste of Golf could honestly be 5-0, be undefeated. They could have one loss on their record. Who really knows? But after that, we're going to move on to the Dark Horse Storm versus Slugcat series, which was the last series played this last week of AD2L games due to Waste of Golf and Grin Fairy, and then Scythe and Dad's Dictatorship. We all played on Tuesday, while Dark Horse Storm and Slugcats try to play on the normal Thursday, but as per usual, Valve drops an update and they butcher putting it into actuality, and they have a bunch of bugs they gotta fix. And the main one was private lobbies could not be played in. So this series got pushed the entire league back a week. I actually ended up casting this with Lacertus, I believe. Yeah, I can't. Hold on. Who did I cast with? I have the poorest memory. But I ended up casting this series. So I kind of, if memory serves, I remember how the series went because I watched it and I called it. But I believe the initial, yeah, the predict. Let's go back onto the predictions. So this series, I predicted Dark Horse Storm to 2-0 Slug Cats, while Ness predicted a 1-1. Um, Waste of Golf and me and Ness both predicted them to 2 Ogre and Fury. I predicted a 1-1 between on the Daddy series, and then Ness predicted Daddy's to 2-0 Scythe. We ended up, we'll go into that one next. But you got the Slugcats Dark Horse Storm series pulled up?
Yep.
All right. So, remembering this series correctly, Angry Sun played absolutely out of his goddamn mind this both games. Game one, he played out of his mind, couldn't win. But then game two, he played out of his mind again. It was another, like, both of these games were slugfests. Like, it was, it was like a heavyweight. It was like a heavyweight. I'm trying to think what the. It was like a championship
Mhm.
fight for the heavyweight title. You had Haymaker from one side, another Haymaker from another. So both teams threw haymakers, and then game one, Slugcats pulled it out, and then game two, Dark Horse Storm pulled it out. Tins on his Slark, if I remember correctly, his early game was kind of but he picked it up. Pangin was honestly, if Angry Sun wasn't my MVP for the series, it would have been Pangin, because this dude on Grimstroke played really well, and then in game two on his Hoodwink, he played. There was one play I need to grab that play. He hit like a 4-man bushwhack into Angry Sun just jumping in, and they just wiped him really quick just because Penguin set up. They played out of their absolute mind. Angry Sun and Penguin. I'm just gonna call him Penguin. I'm gonna butcher it half the time. But on the side of Slugcats, Jay Jonic, he played 4 Clinks. He played very well. But in this series, game one, the main breaking point for why Slugcats was able to pull it out, despite Vitruvius going 5-10, this first game he had some massive blink in. He just had some massive ravages that just turned the fight in their favor. And Vitruvius in this first game played out of his mind. He was the X factor for Slugcats, despite Devil's kill score. Rust Daddy playing on Spectre. Doesn't really matter. Vitruvius was the fight starter for his team, and they played off that. Vitruvius would jump in, hit a big ravage. Everybody would jump in after him. He would die a lot of the time, but that's kind of what this tide did. He was a little bit sad about it, but they would clean up like quite often. Because if you look here, blink in, ravage, kill. This was where I thought the game initially was lost for Slugcats. Was this hour and 3 minute fight where they wiped dieback on Viper, but they had a big ravage, turned it into a dieback on Primal. Then they just ended the game from that. Um, this was the surprise game of the series to me, just because in my mind, Dark Horse Storm's just a better team. But Slugcats and the power of friendship and being a friend stack ended up pulling this first game out. It was just a heavyweight championship fight, and both teams threw haymakers, and they played around their main heroes' timings. They tried to play around the Angry Sun Primal Beast timing, and then Slugcats played around the Tidehunter timing. Both teams played very well. It's a 1-1 for a reason. One team played well game one team played well game two. Speaking of this game one, Ro, is there anything that you're seeing that I'm not, even though I cast this game, numbers wise, that you might want to point out?
No, I think you had it right. I guess I can say from experience with a couple games, even if you're maybe not winning a game the hardest, the Clinks even on a pos 4 if he wants to push, which this one definitely did, having that early deso and 12k building damage. I can attest that it can be hard to play around that because even if you're winning fights and making moves, that Clinks can melt your buildings in a second. So I think in some ways I can feel for probably what might have happened on Dark Horse of even if they're winning fights or trying to make plays on the map, they look down and all of a sudden see one of their buildings is half dead because a Clinks appeared.
Clinks is just like, hey, this building,
It's
uh,
fine.
it's mine. I mean, considering backdoor protection was only put into the game due to Clinks at TI1 because you could backdoor with a Deso Clinks. Uh, what 13 years ago now you could backdoor with Clinks, couldn't do anything about it, and so they added backdoor protection so Clinks couldn't take towers, and I think that's when they added Fortify too. It was just because at TI1, Clinks with Dessa would just backdoor and take your buildings quick as all hell, and you're just like, why do we not have a whole lane anymore?
I mean, as a Clinks player, I can tell you, you could back or go through back door right up until they got rid of searing arrows. I could backdoor racks and all that through backdoor and take an item or two, but you needed Deso plus like one other item, but you could definitely take them.
Yeah, I mean that's just a fun little history fact about Dota. Why backdoor protection is a thing, and it's because of Clinks literally being a hero. And then let's move on to game two for the Dark Horse Storm Slugcat series. This one was a little bit more favored in the side of Dark Horse Storm. They lost the mid lane, but Pangan played out of his mind. Tins played this carry Wind Ranger, played extremely well. He was able to mitigate this. The main thing from Tins that I took this game that he did well was he mitigated the Orchid timing out of Devil, because what Devil probably wants to do is run around on this mid Clinks, find the Wind Ranger, Orchider, Killer, rinse, repeat, and just make sure Wind can never play the game. The main thing Tins did very, very well, in my opinion, in this is he didn't really play. He didn't really show or play much in the lane after he realized Clinks got Orchid until he was able to get this Manta to counter himself, just so that he wasn't just hard feeding to this Clinks, allowing Devil to just to absolutely take over this game. That's the main thing. I'm gonna put a feather in Tins' cap is this item timing from Devil. He wasn't able to play well on it just because Tins didn't allow him to crush him. Um, but the main piece de resistance of this draft from Dark Horse Storm was this mid Timber. Even though he lost the lane, even though he lost the lane on Angry Sun, this dude, oh, like I didn't realize how much damage Timber put out until watching this series. Because Penguin would catch somebody with Bushwhack, Angry Sun would blink in, just pop all his abilities, and then the set of Slug Catch they'd all be like half HP after just one jump in from the Timber Hoodwink duo. They just absolutely melted the side of Slugcats the later this game got. The overwhelming damage coming out of Dark Horse Storm was the prevailing factor out of this game too. They just pumped out so much damage on the side of Dark Horse Storm with between the Timber Saw, the Hoodwink, the Grandma, the Snapfire, and the Wind Ranger. Barry was there. He was kind of just a control hero. He would blink in, toss a Night Stalker's W. That's about all he was able to do. Because the main thing from this draft is both games Dark Horse Storm first picked Barry's Night Stalker. One game he played well, one game he didn't play well. It happens. It is what it is. But Barry kind of got sacked, got told, you're going to have a bad game no matter what. Deal with it, figure it out by his team. He played well enough that they got the win in game two, but The X factor was paying in. Angry Sun tins. Angry Sun just played out of his mind the entire series. It was just, like I said, game one was a heavyweight fight. This one wasn't as much of a everybody throwing haymakers. It was just Dark Horse Storm throwing haymakers, 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 and then Slick Cats trying to throw their jab out there, try to do something. But that jab just didn't matter because that haymaker was already landing by the time they started to throw their jab. But is there anything you're seeing number wise? I know I casted this game, so I have a little bit better of an idea of what occurred here. But is there
I,
something number wise that you're seeing that I'm not?
I think the game looks like it was pretty fair right up until about fights around 33, 35 minutes, where it looks like Slugcatch just lost, got wiped 2 fights in a row. But like up until that point, neither team ever really got more than like a 3, 4K advantage. So it was pretty even. I mean, they don't lose those 2 fights in a row, and who knows, that could have been another 60-minute game. I will also say, just from playing a Timber and a Hoodwink together in the same game, I'm kind of impressed that both had a pretty good game, because Timber likes to screw up a lot of what Hoodwink does. Chopping down all the trees, you have people bushwhack too.
Guess it helps being quite familiar with your teammate because I know this Dark Horse Storm stack. They've played together, I think, without many changes, like 3 years now. So they're really familiar with each other and how each other play. So that helps
Yeah,
them is just knowing what each other want to do.
yeah. I also just want to say it was an interesting Timber build in my opinion. I don't play a whole lot of Timber. I've seen it some pub games, but I'm still used to just seeing an Ags. I can't even remember the last time I've seen an arcane blink on anyone.
He went Blink, I think, was his second or third item because he got I think before the Eternal Shroud.
Yeah, I mean the blink's okay. I was just the arcane link. I'd almost figure it strength link, but I mean clearly it worked. Um, Again, a little surprised at no eggs, but I don't play Timber,
I
so
don't even
power to
know.
him. Clearly his item worked.
Oh yeah, the Timber Eggs. Oh yeah, he
Yeah,
becomes
that's the
super tanky.
shield and the explosion.
Yeah, forget about that being a thing. I don't play Timber and I don't see Timber enough that I remember all his new abilities. So I just know his old Ags is his 25 now.
Yeah. But again, clearly he did well. He knew what he was doing. The build worked, so good for them.
Yeah, and then that because of that series, it moved both Slug Cats and Dark Horse Storm to 3-3 on the season. They're both sitting at 500. The next week, Dark Horse Storm's on bye next week, so automatically Dark Horse Storm, they're 4-3. So they're automatically to 4-3. And then the series Ness is mildly, not mildly, he's losing his mind a little bit about in chat. Um, the Grin Scythe, my last week game of the week, Grin Scythe versus Daddies. They've changed their names now. I'm just gonna still call them Daddies. Their new name is what? Imagine getting vac banned, Keck W. So we're just gonna go with Daddy's team. We're not gonna. I don't want to say vac ban Keck W all the time. That's a lot of words I don't care to say. But this compare this to the last series we went over. This one's more of a deliberate draft. This was if you watched last 2 weeks now. Game two. Daddy's dictatorship wasn't the happiest coming in this series, we will say. Mainly because they got told to change their name. Because their name was Daddy Sucked My Dictatorship. So, AD2L admin said, you got to change your name. We can't have that. We'll look at the game 2 draft from Daddy's and we'll see what their stance was about that ruling from the AD2L mod staff. But game 1 was 44 minutes. kind of was we jab here, you jab here, and then we threw a haymaker, daddy's throw a haymaker, but we'd throw some body blows, try to weaken him up. I don't know why I'm comparing. I think I'm only comparing this to boxing because I've been playing way too much Undisputed recently. I've been playing way too much Undisputed, so my mind's on how boxing works and what you got to do in boxing to win the fight.
Hey,
Uh,
whatever works for you.
but the main thing I'm saying out of this lane stage is on the side of my team, we lost every single lane. We also had Ed. I'm not going to say his. I heard how it said, but I'm not going to say it. But we had Holy Ed standing in for us instead of Lacertus, just because Lacertus had business obligations he had to deal with instead of playing Dota that night. He had a business obligation instead of that he was unable to play this game in. But the main thing is Daddy won every single lane. We've seen this already once before in the Grand Fairy series. They won every lane, lost the game. And weirdly, I'm not gonna give myself MVP, but I played well. But the X factor for us was Holy Edward. That man's tied. Holy jeez, that man's tied. He played out of his mind. He had some massive ravages. He had really good item timings. This man played really, 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 really well on this Tide Hunter for what you got to do on a Tide. Amir, he pumped in damage. Sadly, we had a lot of KSing on our team for poor Amir. He only goes 6-3. We're not gonna point out who the KSer of Amir was. His his name may rhyme with Bamimis at all. I don't know who that guy might be that made poor Amir look kill score look sad, but that damn Abimus.
Hey, the carry's supposed to get the kills.
Yeah, but
That's why he's got the kill priority or farm priority.
yeah. But this game was uh early. Like you see, I got picked off. My early game was really really bad. I got picked off weirdly a bunch of times. Up to 50 minutes. Didn't do much. We won the on the side of my team. We won the 20 to 27-minute fights. We took a bad fight, lost all of our cores. Then we come back, play on Ravage, wipe Daddy's dictatorship. Then we have a wipe on both sides. I think who was the only surviving hero here? It was the only surviving hero out of this fight was Revamp's Witch Doctor, and who else who did not die on their side? Did they all die? All right, can I count?
Yeah, looks like they all died.
Yeah, they all died.
Pudge just died twice.
Yeah, Pudge died twice. Hold on, 1, 2. Yeah, they all died twice. Pudge bought back, died again, and then good God tier Revamp was the only survivor out of this fight that just was the breaking point for Daddy's dictatorship. Because after this, I think I bought back and just no, I didn't even buy back. We just won. We just won from here because it was big massive fight. They lose 6, we lose 5, and a dieback on a mere storm, but didn't really matter because we ended up winning this game. It was all Daddy's early game. We kind of pick them off, and then just big fight with Ravage, and a game. Anything that I know I played in this game, but numbers wise, I'm gonna keep going back to you like this. Anything that you're seeing that I'm not? You got any comments about this game one between my team Grand Scythe and Daddy's nuanced and clever PP pun?
uh, oh, I mean, I think you're right. It looks like both teams honestly played pretty clean games. Couple pickoffs here and there, nothing too major. Pretty slow games. It just kind of similar to I already forgot what other series, but just the big fight or two at the end decided the game. It's a hazard of what happens when the games start going those 40 plus minutes. It's really easy to win or lose the game off of one fight.
And there's not much to talk about game two. We won this game, but the main point about this game two that is the talking point and the only thing really to talk about in game two that Nessa is referring to in chat as we do a little trolling was if you want to take a quick look at Daddy's team's draft, what is one thing that all their heroes do? Do you know
They're
what they
all they're all magic damage. I can see that pretty much, except for maybe Razor.
spell wise?
I
What do they
imagine
all do?
spell. Yeah, you got me. I'm missing something here.
Pugna sucks.
No, yeah,
Lion sucks. Lich
yeah, they all
sucks.
got the suck.
Death Prophet, she sucks. And the piece de resistance, the carry razor, he sucks. One sucks damage, one sucks life, one taunts you to suck, one sucks your mana, and one sucks your life again. So they got two life suckers, a mana sucker.
I'm pretty sure Lich drains your mana while he's sucking you.
Oh yeah, so they
It's
got
not a
two.
lot,
Yeah,
but
yeah, two mana suckers,
some.
two health suckers, and a damage sucker. So the main thing is, 2 weeks ago, Dad just got told to take the suck out of their name. They picked a suck draft, so they kind of meme drafted game two. um, this was the main thing I took out of this series was Bonky's Lich offlane doesn't seem like it should do a lot of damage. That hero can pump out damage, and you don't even really realize until you're just dead. Like, Lich,
Yeah,
because later game you're just like, oh, Lich, he's tickling, and then you just die to a offlane Lich. I'm like, okay, I don't know why that happened, but it happened.
I wish I could see his build, but as he destroyed all of his items
Yeah, Bonky did
or
the.
something.
Yeah, I think he dropped them all, but I know he had a. I can't remember what the item is, but I know he had the bubblegum item. I think TP boots, a blink, his shard, obviously. So he went what you think a core Lich would go, but because of this, Amir absolutely popped off in this game too. He got his best hero, in my opinion, his opinion, everybody's opinion. He got his Storm Spirit overall last pick too. Um, so he got his Storm. Amir was happy, popped off on his Storm. Ed played out of his mind again on a hero, itemized properly. Even though it was against a meme draft, he did play very well. But Amir got to play his Storm. That's been, I think this is the only series we've played so far that his Storm didn't get banned out. So Amir was happy he got to play Storm. But we ended up 2-0 Daddy's Dictatorship. I mean, you could put this as like a 1.5 just because this was a meme draft, but we still 2-0'd him. Still beat him. Moving my team's record to 6-0, then dropping Daddy's Dictatorship to 4-2 on the season. Going into these next week games, we got Nether Knights versus Grin Fury. So I'll let you talk on that one mainly there, Ro. Daddy's Dictatorship versus Slugcats. And then Grin Scythe versus Waste of Golf, which is going to be a reschedule, just probably on Wednesday, or most likely. And then bye week this week is going to be Dark Horse Storm. That's kind of the easy one on for the prediction is that Dark Horse Storm is going to be 1-0 just because they're on bye week. Doesn't really matter. But this Nether Knights versus Grin Fury series, I'm going to leave that one. We're going to talk about that one last just because this is your team.
All right.
But my game of the week is going to be this is gonna be a little biased, but it's gonna be my team versus Waste of Golf. Waste of Golf, we know they're a really good team. We just don't know what type of team they're gonna be just because they haven't played. Does this fit? It does not. Let's just. Alright. So it fits in there. Alright. So let's start with the Daddy's Dictatorship versus Slugcat series. I think this is the easiest predicted series. It's going to be a. If Daddy's Dictatorship doesn't troll, I think it's going to be a quick, easy 2-0 for Daddy's Dictatorship as long as they don't troll. Devil's going to make this game hard just because he's the best player on Slugcats. But I just think Daddy's Dictatorship overall is just the better team. As long as they don't troll, I think it's going to be a 2-0 for Daddy's Dictatorship.
I gotta really think. Well, you're probably not wrong. I think getting into this mid season, a lot of teams who have rougher starts have had time to figure out kind of what's working, what hasn't, and some of them can kind of come in with a vengeance. See Slugcats in their last matches, they didn't do terrible. They actually in the hour-long game against Dark Horse, they actually beat them in kills despite losing. So I think they might be able to put up a fight. However, I think you may be right at it just being a 2-0 for Daddies. I think there may be some good games though.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, Slugcast is always a joy to watch them play, just because they do some weird stuff that either works or doesn't work. But we're gonna move on to my series of my game of the week, and series of the week is Grin Scythe versus Waste of Golf. This is basically the Nest stack versus the Simba stack. Support wise, I think five in the 5 hero. I think we have the advantage just because it's a little biased, but I think Ness is the best support player, hard support player in this division. Followed closely behind your guys' POS 5, who I know is the highest ranked POS 5 in the division. And I'm blanking on his name. In God Ramen, I know he's the highest ranked support player. I think he's Ancient 2, Ancient 3 now.
It's Ancient 3, I believe.
Yeah, so you guys have the highest ranked POS 5, but in my personal opinion, Revamp's the best POS 5. Golf has the advantage in the POS 4. Ness is really good. I just haven't seen enough out of Waste of Golf yet this season to know where to put their players properly in my player rankings list. But Ness, play wise and skill wise, I think edges out Pentjack. We should have Lacertus. I think that one's kind of because their offlaner is double stuffed. So we have the advantage in the 3, just because I feel like Lacertus is better than double stuffed. Then Milkboxy, in my opinion, slightly edges out Amir, not by a whole lot. Milkboxy is just like 1 to 2% better than Amir. I mean, plus I know Amir's been struggling in his pubs a lot recently because I get a message from him every night. My goddamn pubs suck. I hate it. I can't win. So I know right now Amir is struggling, and plus we were supposed to play the series yesterday, but Amir's Wi-Fi has been out since Friday, so it's been a nice. I'm kind of glad I haven't had three days of no messages from Amir because his his Wi-Fi has been out. So it's been a nice peaceful 3 days for me. But I think Milkboxy is just a little bit better than Amir. And then Waste of Golf is getting a new POS 1. I've heard rumors it's gonna be Ren of who played last season. I've played against Ren. I've played with Ren. It's kind of a wash between me and Ren, because me and Ren play similar styles where if we get pressured, we struggle. We don't. We like I know I play poorly from behind, kind of leaking strats. I shouldn't be doing that. But I know Ren plays similar. If you pressure him, he struggles to play from behind. Um, but it's kind of a wash. Me and Ren carry to carry matchup. It's about dead even. So we got offlane in my team's favor. We got 5 in our favor. But on the side of Whistler Golf, they got mid and 4 in their favor. I'm gonna go with it being a 1-1. Because I think Nessa's team can win, but they do have a new carry coming in. I don't know how much they've practiced with Ren. It's probably been a lot, but yeah, I'm gonna just say 1-1 just because overall it's kind of a wash between the players. Like we have advantages somewhere, they have advantages somewhere, but it's kind of a wash overall. Like we have 2 sides advantage, they have 2, and then it's a wash on the last. So just depends on who's able to win the early game, who's able to win mid game, and move on from there.
Well, I think looking back, I'm honestly just gonna be giving your team a 2-0. Waste of golf, a new player saying that. I know that can always be a struggle. I think they'll put up a good fight, but I also think looking at some their previous games, I think you guys have just been a bit more consistent and cleaning your games. I think Waste Golf kind of has a lot of bloodbath games. It looks like, especially in the earlier portions. I think the teams like yours that play this clean Dota can really benefit against them just if you can control the fights. And again, you guys have just been playing I think a bit of a cleaner Dota looking at your past games. Waste Golf wants chaos and kills galore. And while it can be strong, it really throws games up in the air on who can win, and a more disciplined team can just have the advantage in those of being able to snowball and capitalize off of a couple one fights.
Yeah. So what you're saying is Waste of Golf wants Monkey Dota. My team doesn't want Monkey Dota.
Pretty much. Monkey Dota's fun, but and it can work, but it's I think sometimes you're at a bit of a disadvantage going at that with the Monkey Dota because you never know when you're going to slip on the banana peel.
Yeah, and then let's talk about your series against the other Grin team in this division, Grin Fury. Um, the main thing Grin Fury's opponents have done is they've just banned out Island in first phase, made sure Island can't play his game, play his micro heroes. It isn't allowed to do that. Um, so, and this is just a battle of who can turn their season around and get a better seed, who can build their way to try to hopefully sneak into upper bracket. This is the battle of the 1 and 4s, the 6 and 7. This could either be a team moving to 3 and 4, getting closer to that 500. You guys could break even. I don't think this is going to be a break even series because either whoever wins game 1 is going to win game 2. And I think you guys are going to win game 1 because I feel like this might be your turnaround series. I do feel like you guys are going to 2-0 Grin Fury. Just because I feel who wins game 1 will win game 2. I don't think this is going to be a break either way of 1-1 one side, 1-1 for the other. I think it's going to be who wins game 1, wins game 2. Doesn't matter. Whoever can do that is going to win the series just outright.
Yeah, I'm obviously a bit biased towards my own team. I honestly think we should 2-0 Grin Fury, mostly just because A, we've been working on a lot of our stuff, and B, if you think you're going to lose your series going into it, you're probably definitely going to lose. So always got to be thinking you're gonna win. But yeah, I mean, we've been working hard. We took advantage of our bye week, got a lot of practice in. I think we've been kind of identified a lot of what's been going wrong in our past couple games. I think we know what we got to change and work on going forward. They've been going pretty well in our practices as our 5 stack. We've been doing what we needed to do. So I'm just going to go 2-0 for us, hoping they're at least good games. I know sometimes in these lower ranks, you're always expecting something to be a stomp, or can maybe some people may think you'll look worse if you have a long game against them, but I'm here for good Dota. So
Yeah,
hopefully 2-0 for us, but some good games. Everyone can have fun.
yeah. That's the. It's gonna be the predictions on the main thing. Yeah, yeah. I think you already covered what I was gonna ask you. As I was gonna ask you to talk about if you guys took advantage of your bye week and if you guys have figured out what you guys need to do as a team to resolve any issues that you might have, and you cover that
Yeah,
like right before I was gonna ask you about it.
we think we have. We'll see this week if it's true. I mean, but same could be true for Grin Fury. They might not have had the 2 weeks. As in a way, everyone had 2-3 weeks with the
With the
weird
schedule
gap.
pushback,
So
yeah.
everyone's had time. I met, I don't know how often Grin Fury practices. If they're a team that doesn't, but I imagine they at least know kind of what's been going on. I imagine they've talked about it and worked on what they need to do as well. So I also want to see which teams improving better.
Yeah, a battle of last place. Gets
Yeah,
to see who. I mean,
who can start that run?
yeah, your guys' series honestly has the potential. Actually, the series that has the most potential for movement in terms of this power rankings that I've have is gonna be the Slugcats versus Daddy's Dictatorship. If Slugcats can even take a game off Daddy's Dictatorship, I think they move up at least. They overtake Dark Horse Storm, who's on bye week. I know Dark Horse Storm's on bye week, and they can't really keep their spot. But Slugcats, they're punching up a weight bracket against Daddy's Dictatorship. They came into the league at a -5, but the biggest movement potential is going to be Slugcats. If they can somehow pull out a 2-0 against Daddy's Dictatorship, it'll run them up. They can either jump a lot of spots, they can't really move down, but Daddy's Dictatorship, if they lose one, or I, I don't know. This Slugcats has the potential to be the biggest mover in my power rankings this week.
Yeah, I think we're kind of still going into that midweek. I think this week could really kind of gets to where teams are roughly in rank wise where they should be. The first week you never know. You could have a top tier team beating on a last tier seed. You never know going into week one. By week four, things are kind of getting figured out on where people should be. So I think kind of the week like 4 or 5 are generally going to be the best games as people are playing the teams that are near their records and the teams that deserve to be near their records. So should be where some movement starts to happen in the power rankings and see where all the different teams really belong.
Yeah. I want to thank you for joining me this week, Ro. Hopefully your games go well against Grin Fury. Hopefully it's good games, like you said. You don't, because if you stomp somebody, you just kind of feel like, oh, we played Dota. All right, cool, fun. That was a waste of my time. And then if you guys get stumped, you're like, oh, that was a waste of our time. We got stumped. Hopefully it's
Yeah,
not too back and forth, but it's a back and forth and enjoyable series for between you guys and Grin Fury.
yeah,
Uh,
you guys as well against Space of Golf. I think those will be. I do agree with your probably game of the week. I think it has potential to go both ways, but I think you guys should have some good games. Have a lot of fun.
yeah, I want to thank you for joining me this week. Next week, I'm gonna see who I can get from Dies Dictatorship, Dark Horse Storm, Fury, or Slugcast. I know I had Devil on briefly last 2 weeks ago, but just as a co-host, just because I'm trying to get everybody a team from everybody. Next week might be a little bit delayed because I am going on vacation on Friday. So next week's Wartent might get pushed back a week, and I might come back to my team. Hopefully, I have a bye week next week. Hopefully, fingers crossed, because I won't know, because I will not even be in the country. But we'll see. I'll try to keep in contact with my team, but overall, I don't know when next week's Wartent's going to start. But I want to thank you for joining me, Ro. Hopefully, you guys
You're welcome.
have fun and good luck. Have fun. This has been I've been Simba. This has been Wartent week 4, I think. Yeah, Wartent week
Yep.
4. If you I don't know when next week's gonna occur, like I said, but thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys come back next time. This stream will be on a VOD if you guys didn't catch it. We'll have it in a VOD form, and after the VOD expires, I will have it also uploaded to my YouTube channel. So if you guys want to refer back to anything at all, it will be on my YouTube as well. But this has been Wartent Week 4. I want to thank you for joining me, and come back next time.
Yeah, no problem. Yep, I understand. You're welcome. Thanks for having me. See, I'm still talking on your stream. Yeah, well. Yep, thanks for having me. I'm in good run. Good luck on your games this week.